I'm Alex.
I'm Ellen.
And we're here to bring you the sounds of the Salisbury music scene.
And the voices of the community.
Woohoo!
This week's episode is titled 20 Odd.
20 Odd?
20 Odd,
Why is it called 20 Odd?
Well, we had two amazing guests this week, and we tried to link them because we like to link our guests. But sadly, we both wanted to interview these people without a theme in place. So we've come up with one. Kev has been doing radio for 20 odd years, and the average age of Carsick is 20 odd.
Nice.
And that's it.
We are tenuous as ever. Well, do you know what? Let's just get right to it. And let's have a listen to your interview with the amazing Kev Lawrence.
Cool.
Right, well, welcome to the Sounds of Salisbury.
Hello.
Hello. So we've listened to you, and obviously you've had Alex on the podcast on the radio a few times with you interviewing him. So now, the tables are turned. We want to find out about Kev Lawrence.
Wow, I'm very honoured, Ellen. Honestly, both of you, thank you so much.
No, I mean, we think you're amazing, and the work that you do is outstanding. I listen to you when I can at work. I try and download listen to it off my phone. My Wi-Fi is shocking at work, so it's a bit sketchy, but I absolutely adore listening to you, and your interviewing technique is second to none, quite frankly. Do you ever get nervous when you interview people?
I do actually still, yeah. I mean, it's especially people who are nervous themselves. Basically, I try and reassure them beforehand. I don't, to be honest with you, I never write down the questions. To be honest with you, no. I try to make the person I'm interviewing at ease already before I start talking to them and what have you. And 9 times out of 10, it goes really, really well. The ones that make me nervous as well, the ones where you get people just say yes or no, and thinking, right, okay, well I don't know if you've come across this over the years as well, doing the podcast or what have you. That's quite tricky when they just say yes or no, basically. So I try and think of questions as the interview is going on. Try and make them as open-ended as possible, basically. So yeah. That is a good skill. I think Alex learnt that lesson quite early on. He had a guest on, and the guest, I won't even do the gender because I don't want to call anybody out, but basically every question was yes. Okay. And we just sort of looked at each other and thought, oh, okay, this is a tricky one. How do we get this person to open up and actually talk to us? Because we get these people on the podcast because we want them to talk about what it is that they do. We want other people to engage with them. But it can be very difficult. But you've clearly got a really good knack of bringing that out of people to make people feel comfortable to open up. So how did you start to becoming a radio DJ? So basically, when I was a kid, I used to love listening. Well, Radio 1 really was my station I used to listen to. Also, some of the local ones as well, some of the independent ones. I used to love Annie Nightingale, to be honest with you. I used to love listening to her, especially on a Sunday night. She used to do the request show, Hi, this is Annie here, and her dance show as well. Lots of the DJ. Bruno Brooks, I used to love listening to Bruno Brooks on a Sunday afternoon, the top 40. I used to take the top 40. I've still got...
the play and record.
Yeah, I used to play and record. I've still got some of them upstairs actually in my attic, to be honest with you. So it sort of started there really, and I always used to pretend that I was presenting a show, doing my own show, the breakfast show. I love listening to the breakfast show over the years. One of my favourites probably is I remember when Chris Evans took over Radio 1 in the 90s. He used to have his TFI Friday show, so I love listening to him. I remember listening as well to Chris Moyles when he started. He used to do the early breakfast show, basically. I was walking around the Isle of Man. Obviously, I'm a sort of teacher as well. And my teacher's training, I did outdoor education, and I walked around the Isle of Man for a week, basically. And on my Walkman, I remember listening to Chris Moyles, the early breakfast show. I was freezing cold one morning. And just a matter, I thought, I'd really love to have a go at this. And when I finished... I think it was college, actually, before going to uni. I finished college, and I sort of had the courage to ring up the hospital radio in Hereford, and the chap said, yeah, come along. So we set up an interview on a Saturday afternoon, basically. I had to travel up by bus, half an hour journey. But I chickened out, Ellen. I didn't go. I didn't go.
Oh, no.
No, I just didn't do it, basically. So I went to uni, did all that sort of stuff. And then basically my first job was in the Medway Towns, and I rang up the hospital there, Hospital Radio Medway, basically, and they're still going strong now. And yeah, I went along, had a chat and everything. I thought, oh my goodness, what am I doing? And I started with a guy called Keith, and he was amazing. He's not with us now, unfortunately, but he was great. I learned so much from him sort of within the first 6 months. Anyway, he announced one week, or one of the Thursday nights, right, next week, Kev, I'm going on holiday with my missus, and you're doing the show. I thought, oh my goodness me. Here's the keys. Somebody's going to come along to make sure you're okay. One of the other presenters who's been there for many, many years and done lots of presenting and what have you, and DJing. And he just popped in with his missus. He said, oh, you're doing all right. You know, you're sounding okay. And that's when it started, basically.
Amazing. So how old were you then?
So I must,
quite young.
Yeah, sort of in my 20s, I would say. And it was about 1998. But that's when I first started on Hospital Radio Medway. I did that for 2 years. Basically, and then came to Salisbury in the year 2000, and in September started another teaching job. And one of my colleagues who I'm still really friendly with said to me, oh, I hear you did hospital radio. Well, my dad does that at Salisbury District Hospital. Would you be interested? They're always looking for people. I said, oh yeah, all right then. So I met Dave at St Paul's Roundabout by the Chinese there, basically. He picked me up. He took me up, basically, on a Tuesday night in 2000, and I met my first co-host, basically, actually co-hosting with him, because it was his show on a Tuesday night, Jonathan Perkis, basically, and did many years with him, and lots of other people as well. And then over the years with Radio Odstock, so I've been there since 2000, basically. I've done a whole load of different shows, really. I was chairperson for a bit, joint chairperson for a bit. I've done lots of recruiting with the station, lots of fundraising, lots of different shows. And at the moment, I'm doing Monday morning and afternoon. As you said, it's my sort of interview show, really. Lots of music. I get requests from the children's ward as well. I also do a party disco on a Monday night there. I do a mashup show, which is sort of dance, really, on a Saturday night. And what I've just started on a Sunday afternoon, sort of Mothering Sunday, really. I just started. It's all my previous interviews that I've done on Radio Odstock, and also our sister station, Cast 9 FM, because I also do that as well, basically. So yeah, that's when it all started, really. Yeah.
Amazing. So 24 years then you've been on the sound waves of Salisbury.
Yeah,
incredible. It's a real passion for you, though. You know, it's voluntary, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. So
so you're giving all of this time, which is just, well, I applaud you for having this passion, this enthusiasm for 24 years.
Thank you.
You're taking on new shows as well. You know, you're just building and building and building. It's amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, it's been a journey, I tell you honestly. And of course, what's really exciting, probably, Ellen, about 8 years ago, I was in the Salisbury Hospice Charity Office with the person in charge, Paula. She's lovely. She's still there as well. I remember when she got the job, actually. And I turned up many years ago, actually. I went around all the different organisations. I said, look, I've got this show called My Special Selection. Would you like to come on Radio Odstock? And a lot of them, Ellen, didn't have a clue who we were. You know, we've been there 70 years. This is our 71st year this year, Radio Odstock. And a lot of the hospital did not know what we're about. Where are you? I said, we're in a little porter cabin just by the maternity unit. You must know us. No, don't know you. Anyway, about 8 years ago, I was in the office interviewing Paula, talking about what they were doing next with the hospice charity. After the interview, she said, look, are you a charity? And I said, well, no. I said, we're all volunteers. There's about a little hardcore of us, about 10 people, 8 to 10 people. basically, we all work. We'd love to be a charity. We have tried, but it's a lot of paper. But I said, I'll tell you what we want to do, Paul. He said, right, what's that? I said, what we'd like to do is get online, basically. So people can hear us outside Salisbury District Hospital. Because at the time, we had the little grey, I don't know if you remember, the little grey headsets, basically.
Yeah, I do.
Radio Odstock actually closed down for 3 months because those headsets weren't working. Patients were frustrated and what have you. So basically, they all got ripped out, and a company called Patient Line came in, and they took over, thank goodness. And we were on Channel 1 for many, many years. It's Hospedia now, to be honest with you. But I said to Paula, the thing is, we go around the wards, and a lot of the patients, they say, a lot of their relations say, oh, can we hear it? Can we hear it at home? And we say, well, no, I'm really sorry. You can only hear it within Salisbury District Hospital. Anyway, Paula said, right, we could become your umbrella sort of charity. You can scratch our back, we'll scratch your back. So basically they give us a bit of money each month to be online, and we go and support as many of their outdoor events as possible. So we got the next one that's coming up soon is the Midnight Walk. So we're going to be there. So anybody who's actually in the hospice can't come to that particular event, would love to have come, they can hear it live on Radio Odstock, thanks to Salisbury Hospice Charity.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
When's that?
That's going to be at the end of April, basically, and we cannot wait. We're going to be there, and you'll be able to hear us live on radio. It all kicks off about 8:30. It goes on to 1:30 in the morning. So we're going to be playing lots of music. I'm going to be playing music from there, interviewing people, why they're doing it, basically, and then we're going to be linking up lots to Gilly. Basically, he's going to be up in the studio, and the team and I are going to be down at the Five Rivers, because that's where it's going to be starting from. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, incredible! It gives me BBC Radio 1 vibes. Oh, yeah. The big production of,
yes.
So I've got Kev out in the field, and then we've got Paul back in the studio.
Yeah,
I love that. I'm going to definitely tune into that. That's going to be bonkers.
Please
amazing.
Do. Yeah, it'd be great. Yeah.
Yeah, and your relationships that you've got with your co-workers, I've picked up on it when I've listened to your show. I mean, you've got Community Chris.
Yes.
And she comes on and she does the travel and the weather and sort of community news. And your rapport that you two have is beautiful. When I first listened to it, and I was at work and I was sort of typing away and it was on in the background, and suddenly I just felt like I was in a room with you two just chatting.
Oh, yeah.
It was so natural and just such a really nice, relaxing, easy listen, informative. I know when the roads are closed now, which is brilliant. Thank you.
Brilliant.
I know what to avoid, what not to avoid.
Yeah.
So, I think being online is definitely been a key for you guys to go out.
Yeah.
And your Facebook page as well. You're quite prolific in promoting things that are going on in Salisbury. I quite often go to your Facebook page so that I can do my research for the podcast. I go, well, what's going on? I know I'll go to the Salisbury Radio Facebook page, the Odstock Radio Facebook page. That will tell me what's going on.
Yeah.
So that's also a thing I think people should jump onto as well, is your Facebook page.
Definitely. I mean, Chris is I met her a few years ago, basically, and we just clicked. I've had lots of different co-hosts over the years. There's one in particular, again, Chris would have loved him, basically. They would have got on like house on fire. We used to have a guy on a Tuesday night. So when John left, he went off to uni and what have you. He's now in London now, basically. He's just had a baby as well, bless him, which is great.
Oh, congratulations.
So basically on a Tuesday, I kept the show going. And one year I had a guy called Brian Till. He's not with us anymore. He unfortunately passed away with cancer as well. He was in the hospice at Salisbury District Hospital. I had such, Ellen, a blast with him. We'd turn up, and we used to have a few co-hosts with us beforehand. So Dave, I'm back with Dave actually now on a Monday. David Beamish does a show after me. So him, Dave, we used to have another lady called Emma. She's not with us anymore either. And also Graham as well, who was one of our young presenters. Unfortunately, he died in a crash, basically, long time ago. He's only 20, bless him. So it was a great team. We used to have a great... They sort of did their show. They did their request show before us. They did the children's ward, actually. And then we would go on to the wards, the adult wards, after them and get requests. Brian, I mean, one day, Ellen, it was just so fun. He turned up he's got a scooter, had a scooter. He used to wear his shorts. It was so hot. It was a hot evening. Emma was just absolutely in stitches before we started our show. He couldn't get his helmet off, basically, off his head. He was just had us in absolute stitches. One evening we did the show. We did a 2-hour show. And then I discovered that the on-air button was off. So we've just been talking to ourselves, just me and him. I mean, he was just so funny. And he held my hand the last time I saw him, basically. And he said to me in the hospital, I'm going to well up in a bit. I said, because he was such an honour to have him with me. He said to me, can you make sure Doreen, so his wife, she's still around, Doreen, and she's been out a few times to do a few shows with me over the years. He said, can you make sure she comes and helps you ever so often? You know, I'd love that, you know, if you did that. And yeah, she still does, basically. She's about 80 something now, Doreen, and she's so active, does lots of things and what have you. We did a broadcast, actually, 87.7 broadcast, thanks to the Hospital League of Friends, which is another organisation based at Salisbury District Hospital. This is when we were 60. So we went along, a few of us, to get some money. It was so funny. The chair at the time, he's brilliant. He said, Kev, when would you like to know? I said, well, tonight would be great if you don't mind. And they let us know, said, yeah, you've got the money for 3 days. We did a 3-day broadcast. Brian wasn't with us at that time, but Doreen, Mary, who's still around, and also Emma at the time, she was alive then, they came and we did the first live FM show, basically, the Vinyl Breakfast show, the 3 ladies and myself. It was brilliant. Absolutely, we had a great time, and Brian would have been proud of that. He would have loved that. So yeah, really, really good. Yeah.
Oh, amazing. Yeah, you know, you're building a family over there between you, big support networks where you can all support each other. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, that's made me a little bit emotional, I'm not going to lie.
Oh, bless you. Bless you.
Yeah, just to hear people's stories and sort of how you get to where you are and why you do what you do. So let's talk a little bit more about what you do. So you're planning. I'm now privileged to be in your chat. So you meticulously plan your shows. I think people probably think that, you know, you just rock up on a Monday, plug your microphone in, throw some CDs on and just chinwag. But you really do take time to plan your show and send it out to everybody that's going to be involved so that they know exactly what's going on. It must take up quite a lot of your time.
It does, Ellen. Yeah, I can't just rock up, basically. And it's a 4-hour show. I'm always looking for people to interview to make it really interesting, sound really, really good. I mean, the main bit really is getting the requests. So I go and get those, because that's what we're about, Radio Odstock. Paul Mullins was the guy who started at Radio Odstock all those years ago in a little broom cupboard, which is still at Salisbury District Hospital. It's a cupboard as we speak, to be honest with you. And then we moved over to our little portal cabin, back sort of the 70s, basically. And he started it up. I mean, what they used to do, and it's so interesting. They would go around, get requests, come back to the studio and record it onto reel-to-reel. And then the next week, they would take the reel-to-reel machine and plonk it in the middle of the ward, press play, and there you are.
Wow.
So they will record the show in the studio with the requests, and then go and take the reel-to-reel machine.
That's amazing.
You know, we've just moved on so much, really. You know, being with the hospice charity as well, being online, the equipment as well. We Tech Chris, he's just amazing, really. It really has come on, but I can't just walk in. I try and organise it, as you know, as you can see. And again, Community Chris, she's amazing. And also Gilly, they look after our Facebook page, basically. Gilly does all the show cards. And Chris, you know, she also does community news as well for us all. It gets played out every day on radio. So, you know, she puts a lot of time into that, really. But yeah, it's great because I try and, like you said, I put it out to the guests. Chris puts it on our Facebook page so we can track more listeners, basically. You know, for example, we had somebody on the other day, and he sent it out for all his friends and all his family, basically, so they could listen, basically. So that's why I sort of do that, send it out to everybody. I always as well, I mean, I don't know how many interviews I've edited over the years. I don't know. Must be thousands, to be honest with you. But I always send as well the interview to the person or the people that I've interviewed. I always do that, basically. Yeah. So yeah, but it's a lot of time people don't realise. And again, I don't get paid. None of us get paid. We're all volunteers, both at Castan FM and Radio Odstock. So yeah.
Yeah, well, I applaud you because I know the effort that goes into editing, and most of your shows are live, which is scary. yeah.
I like to do it live, basically. On both stations, really. And as I said, I sometimes I do write down the questions, especially if they ask me. You know, we had a lady the other day. She came and she was lovely. She was a bit nervous first of all, but and she's supporting the hospice, basically. But after it was fine. You know, so yeah, really, really great. And the next one I've got coming up soon is our new chief exec, basically, Lisa. She's going to be coming on soon. She was supposed to be coming on Monday. I've met all the chief execs now over the years, basically, and they've all been marvellous, and I know she's lovely. I haven't actually met her in person yet. I saw her at a distance, but she had to go and do something, but she's hopefully coming in next, basically, and hopefully be finding out about the new ward which is opening soon, Ellen, up there. So can't wait for that. It's going to be great. Yeah.
Tune in. So when do you hope to get her on next Monday? Or
I'm hoping, fingers crossed. I haven't heard yet from her PA, but because I've just done it. But I'm hoping she's going to be coming in on Monday, basically. And Community Chris is back as well. Woohoo! She's going to be coming in on Monday. So she's been coming in live once a month, basically, and she's back on Monday, basically, for 2 hours. And she goes round as well beforehand for me. Obviously, I do it every week, but she goes on the children's ward. Ellen, she gets absolutely loads of requests. You know, one week she brought about 8 back. I said, Chris, come on, look, you know, I've got all these interviews play. I've got all these people to ring up and everything. But yeah, she's absolutely fantastic. And Gilly as well, doing the everybody's great. It's a team effort. Amazing. At Radio Odstock. It's a team effort. Yeah.
I mean, you're very geared to local community, local people. But if there was one celebrity you could interview, who would it be?
Right, so people who know me are going to know who I'm going to say.
I already think I know the answer, but go.
And I've talked to Alex, I think, over the years about her. Right, she's my heroine, basically, and it's got to be Miss Kylie Minogue, basically. So, I'd like to interview her, actually. When she first started out in Neighbours, and obviously she did quite a bit of acting, and she sort of got into music by accident, to be honest with you. She's done quite a bit of singing with her sister, especially it was a talent show, basically. Her sister was more out there than she was, basically, when they were youngsters. I'll be honest with you. Danny Minogue. But it's changed because Kylie has just, you know, I mean, she was on the Brits the other night, you know, 2024. I mean, what artists, you know, to be, all the critics when she first started with Stockacre and Waterman, she's bubblegum pop. She's never going to survive, you know. And she did leave the clown. Stockacre and Waterman. She did her last album was Let's Get To It. She did a greatest hits album, basically, and she went to deconstruction, and everybody thought, oh no. And I remember it's about 1994. I was at uni in Ambleside, the Lake District, and the first one to come out was Confide in Me, 1994, and it got to number 2, so it did okay, but it wasn't really Kylie. It wasn't Stockacre and Waterman. It wasn't bubblegum, you know, pop and what have you. And I think a lot of people thought, right, that's it. She's not going to come back. And the Hot Pants in 2000, Spinning Around, which was written by Paula Abdul, actually, that particular track. It just and they were 50 pence apparently from the market in London. So and the rest really is history. And Badam, of course, that's brought her back again. You know, she's at Capital FM doing the concert. She came out, the kids were like screaming. You know, it's just, yeah, I really admire her, and I think, you know, she's a businesswoman, but she's genuine, and yeah, I'd like to interview her actually, Ellen. Yeah, so if you can get onto a PA for me, that'd be lovely, love. Thanks.
I'll see what I can do. I'll put a word in.
Thanks, that'd be great.
Sadly, my powers don't stretch quite to Kylie Minogue, but you know, I'll tag her in for the podcast. You never know what traction you'll get.
Yeah.
Well, what an absolute legend Kev Lawrence is, you know, and doing all of that radio work voluntary. I
think you got me questioning now.
No, yeah. I was going to say voluntarily, but
okay.
It's as a volunteer. He does it for nothing, people. He does it for love, and I think that's amazing.
It is amazing. I thoroughly enjoyed interviewing Kev. I mean, he's a super lovely guy, and you could probably tell from my interview technique that I was a little bit overexcited to talk to him. So apologies, people. But yeah, just all round wonderful fella and interesting. His story, it captivated me. I could have talked for hours.
Very cool. So, we've reached that time again, Helen.
Ooh. Is this the time where you can't count to 10 properly? How many number 7s are we going to have this week, Alex?
I believe I had 2 number 9s and 2 number 7s last week. Sounds like I'm ordering a Chinese takeaway. So yeah, I will try very, very hard to get this right this time. Okay, so the top 10 this week, because our theme is 20 odd, I thought I would find 10 even, odd things that happened in 2020.
Okay, but there's one.
but obviously, the elephant in the room, pandemic stuff is not on the table. This is odd stuff that happened when we were all living an odd life. So at number 10, I don't want to get too political, but Brexit was odd.
Yeah.
It was weird. Nobody really understood it. Everyone had lots of opinions, but it still happened. And
much to people's surprise.
At number 9, this is weird. This is odd. So, obviously, during the pandemic, that's fine. Qantas, the Australian airline, offered people in Australia who were, you know, obviously not allowed to go and travel the world, the opportunity to get on a plane and fly around Australia, seeing all the sights of Australia from the plane, and even trips to Antarctica, and then land back where they started.
Okay.
Essentially a trip to nowhere.
That's very odd.
Prices started from £500 through to £2,500 for essentially a trip to nowhere.
I'm really confused. Why couldn't they get on a bus, though?
Well, Australia is like the size of Europe, isn't it? So,
yeah, but you can do a coach trip.
I don't know, but just odd.
Yeah.
Number 8, this is weird. So, obviously during lockdown, people were kind of a bit stir-crazy and a bit mental and a bit mad, and you just wanted to scream. You know, it was me. But if I'd known this, I could have screamed, because the government in Iceland came up with this genius idea where you could be in Salisbury, for example, you could be in your home and you decide, I've had enough, I need to do a scream. And so you could let out the most ridiculous scream ever, record it on your phone, on your voice notes, and then send it to this Icelandic thing, and they would then play it through massive speakers in the middle of a forest somewhere, letting out all your rage. into this beautiful Icelandic
Is
scenery.
that just the wildlife could suffer as well as us?
I don't know.
All this blood-curdling screaming
Yeah.
going on all day. They must have wondered,
It's just
is the
odd.
world coming to an end? We all thought it might be.
Yeah, and so we're all just thinking outside the box.
Okay.
So
but technically,
Iceland,
you're still screaming in your own
you are,
country. So
but then it gets played in Iceland, and then
I do love that. I wonder if they still do that.
to know.
We'll
Who
just get
knows?
them to play the podcast to the wildlife.
Yeah.
Then they'll suffer.
Okay, number 7. There was a puppy born with green fur in 2020. Green fur.
Okay.
So apparently it came into contact with something called biliverdin, which is a green pigment while it was in the womb. And so it was the only one of the puppies that was born green. A real odd thing.
I wonder if that puppy is okay.
Yeah. It's completely healthy.
I'm so
Just the
going
fur.
on TikTok later, see if there's
Boom.
pictures.
Number 6. Poland in 2020 accidentally invaded the Czech Republic. Accidentally
Invaded
actually,
the country.
Yeah, they actually occupied part of the Czech Republic for about sort of like a day, and then realised, actually, what's this all about? This is a bit weird. And after a bit of discussion, they realised that the borders had kind of been messed up on their thing, and so they politely removed themselves from the Czech Republic. Odd.
Wow.
These are the things we didn't hear about. This is just bizarre.
This is what Boris should have been telling
I
us.
know, this is what we were going. Next slide. A star went missing. And now we're not talking about a Hollywood star or anything like that. We're talking about an actual star in the sky that scientists were looking at and keeping tabs on. And then one day they looked up in their little, I was going to say microscope, not microscope, telescope, and it had gone. And they were expecting...
Was it a particularly cloudy day?
No, because I mean the weather, 2020 in the
Was it the
summer,
UFO?
it's lush, wasn't it? It could have been. They were expecting this star to explode into like a supernova, and actually it disappeared, and so they think it collapsed into a black hole.
Wow, that's quite cool.
It's quite cool, but quite odd. Where's that star? Has anyone seen that? Just gone, you know. Number 4, we've had Brexit, but even odder was Megxit.
The only odd thing about that was the public interest.
Yeah, I mean, I've got nothing to say on it because it's just, you know, I know you love the royal family. You do.
I love certain members of the royal
Certain
family.
members of the royal family.
Yeah.
But
I respect
yeah.
some, not others.
oh, it's getting a little bit
We'll
tasty
leave
now.
that. We'll move on.
We'll leave it there. Megxit, number 4. If I've done that correctly, please let me know. I'm sure that was number 4. Number 3. This is... I love this one. It's odd, but I love this one. An Irish court ruled that the bread in Subway was not bread. They discerned and decided...
Dumbfounded.
Yeah, they decided that because the sugar content within this bread was 10%, it could no longer be termed bread. So every single... If you go to Subway, they've got loads and loads of different variations of, you know, what, bread. But this Irish court said, it's not bread. It's got 10% sugar in it. Can't be bread.
So was it cake?
I don't
Donut?
know. But they got a spokesman.
We'll have a cake meatball.
Oh, cake
Long cake
meatball
meatball.
marinara. Oh. They had a spokesman from Subway come out, and their statement was, our bread is, of course, bread. And there you go. But yeah, so if you go to Ireland for a Subway, the bread that you're having is not bread legally, because the Irish court ruled that it wasn't.
Okay, fabulous. Odd.
Number 2, a new planet was discovered by a student. Okay? And they called it TOI 1338. It is 6.9 times larger than the Earth, and it orbits 2 stars. So essentially...
Oh, it's Tatooine.
This is it. Essentially, when you're on the surface of this planet, you're looking up at 2 suns, and straight away, people were like, "Oh my God, it's the planet from Star Wars. It's Tatooine." And in fairness, it is 1,300 light years away.
You're looking at me like I'm supposed to know what that means.
In a galaxy far, far away.
Okay.
Star Wars was actually filmed in a galaxy far, far away. Forget this, Tunisia rubbish. No.
We've located the set.
We have relocated the set. And number 1, and I never got this. I know people, I work with people that got this, but I just couldn't get on the bandwagon. So at number 1, the oddest thing from 2020 was how people became infatuated with the Tiger King.
Oh gosh, never saw an episode.
Never saw an episode, but it's only gone. But oh my God, for 6 months, that's all people talked about. Tiger King. You know who I'm talking about.
I work with a higher calibre of people, clearly.
Wow.
Nobody at my work talked about Tiger King, I can assure you.
We had people dressing up as Tiger King.
I know.
Didn't we?
I know this person.
No names. So, there we are. Very random, but that is my top 10 odd things that happened in 2020 that weren't the other thing.
That's brilliant. That's very informative. I'm intrigued. I want to look for the new planet and the lost star.
Well, you won't find the lost star because it's gone.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Okay. Moving swiftly on then. Now I've made that stupid comment. Should we go to our next guest, Alex?
Let's do it.
Let's chat to Carsick.
So brilliant. I'm delighted to welcome Jack Richardson from Carsick onto the Sounds of Salisbury podcast. How are you doing, Jack?
Yeah, good, thank you, mate. Good, thank you. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you very much.
Brilliant.
So you guys have been around now for 3 years, maybe?
Yeah, coming on 3 years now. Yeah, it's been a while now, yeah, when you put it like that.
How did you all first get together?
So me and my brother obviously known each other our whole lives, but we all went to Andover College, studied music, events management and production. So we got to know Tom, our drummer, and our bassist, Jack H, through college there. But yeah, we never really played in bands together before until this, though. Like me and Joe had, but yeah, the rest of us had never really sat down and done anything until this. But it's kind of going all right, kind of, I guess.
I think that's a little understatement, but we'll let you have that. That's all good. So, if you could describe the sound to somebody that's never heard you before, and you're not giving them a record to listen to. You have to describe first, and then they'll decide if they want to listen to it. How would you describe yourselves?
Our sound, I'd say just in your face indie energy sort of thing. I think that's more represented in our live shows more than our recordings, but yeah, just like energy, really. Yeah, that's kind of what we all are in it for, sort of like just a fast pace sort of like, because we're all into like different influences and stuff, like growing up in like punk music, indie music, so I'd probably just say energy, man. Yeah, just energy.
I can definitely attest to the energy when it comes to live, but we'll get to that in a little while. Yeah, so I mean, I've obviously done the research and obviously listened to your music and seen you guys live. and read through some interviews that you've done previously, and I can, when I read them and I listen to your music, I completely get what you're saying. So from like the indie perspective, the influences there, you get Blur straight out of the back, the Streets. You've also said previously that the Slaves were quite a big influence, and one of my favourites as well, which I think is really underrated as far as your music is concerned, but you can hear it, is Linkin Park as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Just, you know what, I love that comparison, because we're all massive Linkin Park fans. So that's
cool.
That's
mega.
It's
just I think it's the musicality of it. There's a lot of really kind of heaviness in there, but you play it so melodically that it probably doesn't quite hit to the, oh my God, that's like a Linkin Park kind of vibe, but it is definitely there.
Amazing.
So in October 21, you released your debut single, It Is What It Is. You've described that as your Mr. Brightside song.
Yeah, I think it still is to this day. It's definitely the one that most people know when they come to shows. It's the one that if there's one song they'll take from the set, it's usually that song that they'll sing the words to. But that's definitely our Mr. Brightside. Yeah.
It's a fantastic song. What is your writing process? Do you all sort of come together and just jam things through, or is it just one person that goes, guys, I've got this song? You know, how does it work with yourselves?
Yeah. So, it usually starts, my brother will have like a rough instrumental, and then we'll all sort of jump in with like lyrics. Tom will write his own drum parts, and we sort of build off of the original instrumental demo that Joe's laid down. So it's like a team effort though. It's definitely like all of us working together on the tracks. And then, and we record them all at Studio 91, shout out, in Thatcham. Tom and Sam, they're great. They make us sound, they take us to a level we can't really get to in the shed sort of thing. But yeah.
I mean, I think, you know, the sound from your record, I say records, I'm going to say records. The sound from your records and your songs is fantastic. It's very unique, and lyrically, it's masterful. Again, I go back to Blur in that respect. It's, you know, it's almost talking, and then suddenly you're hit with this incredible chorus that just lifts you off your feet. And we've seen that live so many times. Just people absolutely up and down, like absolute mad, crazy people. But it's what you guys do that makes them do that. There are three words in one of the songs that I just absolutely love. They just stick with me lyrically, and that's repetition perpetuates permanence. It's like, what? I need to Google that. What does it mean? It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant, because you're talking about things that really resonate with not just, you know, your generation. You're all, you know, young lads in your sort of early to mid 20s, but also I think with people of an older generation, because we've been in your shoes and we can completely understand what it is you're talking about.
Yeah.
And singing about.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's brilliant. I think that line specifically as well. Me and my brother, when we wrote that, we thought, is that a bit too obnoxious? Like, or like, you know, like using that line sort of thing. But I don't know. Yeah, we kind of approached that song as if we were writing, I guess, like a spoken word poem, and then the instrumental and everything came together around it. But yeah, it's definitely one of our like favorite things we've written as well. But yeah, definitely, man.
So then you've released your EP, Drunk Hymns.
Yep.
And you have been out, essentially touring that, and you know all your other songs as well. You've been hard at work touring. You've been out recently with the Luke Estate.
Yeah.
Not just in the UK, but also in the EU. So in France and Belgium. You've also played in the Netherlands as well. How has your music kind of crossed over to that audience?
I think in Europe they really appreciate like English bands more than in our country, sort of thing. I don't know what it is, but the crowds in Europe and even the way like you get treated as a band in Europe is in a lot of ways better. I don't know what it is. I think maybe for them it's more of a treat having like British bands come over. But yeah, it's been, to answer your question, it's been received like really well over there. We've got plans to like sort of just target Europe a lot more this year, which is quite exciting. We just love playing over there. Like they look after you really well as on top of everything else. So it's really cool, man. Yeah, they seem to like it.
As, following you on your socials, the crowds. I mean, you seem to be getting very big crowds between yourselves and the Luke Estate, on that tour, whether it is in the UK or over there as well. That must be a huge buzz for yourselves, having only been around for a little while.
It still blows our mind that anyone comes to watch us, mate. In all honesty, but yeah, for some reason it seems to be growing. Like the more tours we do, which is obviously like such a privilege to be able to go out and play in front of like. It would be happy if there was like one person in the room, but like. We just love playing, but like, yeah, it's just such an honor to be able to like, especially in other countries, we still haven't like wrapped our head around that, like how cool it is to like to get to do that,
Well, I mean, speaking of other countries, as I said, you've just finished the tour, so you hope you're getting a bit of rest, because blimey, you guys are going to be busy over the summer by the looks of it. I've counted 7 festival appearances between May and August so far, and I'm sure that's going to increase by as things go. But I mean, you've got Extreme Fest in France, and you announced today Brewis Fest in the Netherlands.
Yep.
Which is cool. 2000 Trees, which is an excellent festival. And Truck Fest, they love you at Truck Fest, don't they?
We've somehow become the house band there now. I don't know.
Yeah. So how many times have you played there?
So this will be our 3rd year in a row, which is cool. Like mad. Yeah, we all love that festival. Like prior to being in a band together, it's a festival we'd all collectively like go to every year we could anyway. But so like to get to play it, and this year and like on the main stage as well, with like some of our absolute heroes. I think it's the same day as Jamie T, which is just like for us is a massive influence. So we'll all be fangirling fanboying and fangirling massively hard. But yeah, it'll be cool. It'll be like insane. Hopefully, as long as people show up.
I'm sure they will. How do you kind of attack the festival audience with the kind of intimate, I'll say arena, but the intimate kind of smaller gigs? Do you have to think? Do you just think it's just a gig, or do you have a different way of sort of attacking them?
I think we approach it like we would any other gig, but at the same time we're aware, like with festivals, a lot of people aren't there to see us. They're here to find like new music, but we just kind of get up, do what we do in like a smaller capacity venue. Just send it and just try and get the crowd engaged as much as we can. And then I think with festivals where everyone's in such a good mood already, as soon as a couple people start moving, the rest of them start moving, and like it's just like it's massive pits, and yeah, it always ends up as chaos. But we kind of just get up there and do our thing and hope for the best. If people like it, great, But
and Joe has got a fantastic, he's a fantastic front man. He's got a great aura with the crowd. I've seen sort of lots of footage of you guys playing, and everyone just wants to mosh, and he's like, no, just wait, just wait. And it's almost like he's guiding them, and then it's like, go.
Yeah, that's it.
You've got to have some real confidence to be able to kind of hold a crowd in your hand like that.
Yeah. I think that's the cool thing I've seen about my brother over the few years we've been in a band is how he's grown as a frontman and the confidence to engage with the crowd like that. I've seen that. Well, all of us in the band have seen that. So yeah, he's definitely at a stage now where even when Truck last year there was a few thousand people, he was just screw it, we'll treat it like a normal gig and engage with the crowd like it's a normal gig sort of thing.
So obviously that's what you've got coming up in the summer. What are your goals? Because there's some big things there. As I said, 2,000 trees. That's a huge festival. Truck Fest is a massive festival. You're playing festivals over Europe. But what are your goals? What's okay, that's a tick box. That's done. What are the ones that are still left to be ticked off?
Oh, it would be I think for me, and I'd speak for Joe and probably the rest of the band, it would be to get to a point where we're headlining these festivals would be just an insane dream. Any of them festivals would be such a surreal feeling to be the headliners, because we've not headlined any festivals yet, but the dream would be main stage Glastonbury sort of thing, but we've got a way to go yet. But that would be really
looking
cool.
At their lineup today, it should be that. You should be on their headlining above Coldplay. Christ. I'd have bought a ticket if you were headlining, I'm going to tell you now.
That's at least one person there. Step aside, Coldplay.
They've done it 4 times already. Let's get you guys, the new generation, in.
4 times.
That's what we need.
Chris Martin should just retire now, to be honest. We'll take his place.
Trust me, you guys, when you guys are playing Glastonbury, we will be there. I can assure you of that. And so will many other thousands and thousands of people, and they'll all love it. By then, you'll have lots of new music. So do you have anything sort of in the pipeline? Have you got plans to get back in and record? Have you started writing?
Yeah, so we're always writing sort of thing between tours, even when we're on doing shows and stuff. And we're always recording. We're back in the studio. We were in the studio in January, just getting some songs in our back pocket for so we've got stuff to release sort of thing. But yeah, we've got a few songs ready to sort of drop. We don't know whether we want to do it as a single release or anything, but probably in the next few months we'll have another song out at least, even if it's just a single. But yeah, no, it's kind of just making sure we keep the foot on the gas sort of thing with releasing. We wouldn't want to leave it too long, and it's already been, I can't remember, the last song was maybe September last year. So yeah, next couple months, I reckon, another tune. It's just deciding which one.
And I wanted to sort of just talk to you briefly as well about the music scene locally, because obviously you guys hit the scene very hard. Almost I don't know, just sort of came from nowhere. There seemed to be a couple of people that were like, oh my God, yeah, this band are going to be brilliant. And then suddenly, bang, you were everywhere and blowing people away. Do you still keep an eye on what's going on in the local scene? And do you pop out and go and watch people occasionally when you're not out doing what you do?
Yeah. I mean, for example, at the Winnie Gate in Salisbury, Rob up there, he's always got, even if it's bands that I won't know, if he's got a gig night on, even if it's a ska band, sometimes I'll put my head in. Or my friend Scott, his band Corellian, they're I think they have just released their first single, so I've caught them a couple times. Yeah, Scott's lovely. I love him a lot.
I also wanted to just have just quickly speak to you about Tom Belk as well.
Yeah,
you guys headlined his kind of tribute night at I'm going to say Brown Street, but it's not. It's
Rude Giant. Yeah,
Rude Giant. That's it. Sorry, Rude Giant. Which was an emotional night, but an incredible tribute to him, and I thought you guys were absolutely fantastic. How did he help you guys
from the start, like Tom Belkey was the first promoter to ever actually like book us for a show. It was at Chapel, and that's how we all got to know him, sort of thing. And he's sort of championed us since that gig, and it became like a very good friend of all of ours, sort of thing. But yeah, just a really, really, he cared a lot about the music scene in Salisbury, and he really, everyone that I'd meet, like, that knew him would always say how highly he spoke of our band. So he just a great guy, just an all-round great guy. I couldn't say a bad word about Tom.
Well, in fairness, he couldn't say a bad word about you guys as well. You're absolutely right. He was very highly enamoured with yourselves, and rightly so. You know, you are, you're absolutely smashing it. We look forward to seeing you live again very, very soon, hopefully. And we look forward to the new music, and obviously headlining Glastonbury.
Soon come, yeah. When we do, you've got guest list.
Oh, you're an absolute star. Well, I got to say, what a wonderful. I don't think he'll mind me saying young man, but you know,
well, he is only 20 odd.
20 odd, exactly. Thought he came across fantastically. Please, if you get the opportunity, go and watch Carsick. They are absolutely phenomenal. You are going to get sucked into a mosh pit of absolute brilliance. But they are so good. Listen to their stuff on Spotify, and yeah, just really try and support, you know, them and all the local acts in Salisbury, because we've got some incredible music coming out of Salisbury right now. And speaking of music, Carsick were really, really nice, and they actually sent us 2 songs to choose from to end the show. And I have one choice, and Ellen has the other. And so we've battled it out, and the person that won is going to introduce that final song.
I am very good at rock, paper, scissors. I thank you. So I won the challenge. I mean, I love both songs. I'm not gonna. I listened to both. It was really difficult, but there's a couple of lines in this that just play over and over in my head again. So here we are. Muzzle by Carsick.
Shouting, you just can't get the staff, cause he smokes when he drinks and he drinks when he smokes. Now he's getting the wound up like he was provoked, saying calm down mate, it was just a joke. I've got a foreign mate, he's a lovely bloke. All you kids these days are way too woke, you can't say anything nowadays. I've got mates in all the wrong places, can't put names to all of their faces, fucking up bars and wasting their wages. Aged 10 years but nothing else changes. I've got mates in all the wrong places, can't put names to